What a crazy 2022 NFL offseason it has been for the Cleveland Browns. They lost out on the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. Now they could be losing Baker Mayfield, or are they? A little bit of a standoff going on between Baker Mayfield, his camp, and the Cleveland Browns organization because according to Tom Pelissero, Baker Mayfield has requested a trade after he found out that the Browns were pursuing Deshaun Watson, but the Cleveland Browns not honoring that request. I'm Chase Sr., he is Matthew Peterson. You're watching the Cleveland Browns Report and NFL Daily by Chat Sports. We're breaking this down just moments after this news became official, and this is pretty crazy, Matthew Peterson.
Yeah.
So much quarterback movement all across the NFL, and with Deshaun Watson and that trade being imminent, could now a Baker Mayfield trade follow Deshaun Watson and him going elsewhere? What are your initial takeaways with him requesting a trade? We know that he's an emotional dude, so that doesn't come as much of a surprise, but for Cleveland, they're in a little bit of a predicament right now at the quarterback position.
Yeah, a lot to break down here. And the first thought is, and something that a lot of Browns fans and people in the dog pound have been talking about, is once Andrew Berry set off to get Deshaun Watson, what was the backup plan if Watson opted to go to the Saints or Falcons? Because it didn't seem like this is something Baker Mayfield would be okay with and just ignore and go, that's fine, I don't have my feelings hurt, let's run it for 2022. That's been the big question. If they couldn't get Deshaun Watson, what was plan B? And it looks like plan B is not going to be Baker Mayfield, and that's not much of a surprise. Why would he want to stick around an organization that clearly wants to move on to bigger and better things at his position? Now we're going to find out what Andrew Berry, the Browns GM, is made of. What's the next step here? Is it getting someone like Matt Ryan from the Falcons? Could it be a Jimmy Garoppolo trade from Chase, your San Francisco 49ers? Or are they going to go deep in the well for a Mariota, a Gardner Minshew? We'll look at some QB targets later on, but this has been the big question in Browns Twitter spaces, Browns Twitter, Browns everything basically.
Yeah.
What's plan B if you don't get Watson? There's a lot of faith and trust because, one, Andrew Berry has been one of the brightest minds to come into Cleveland for quite some time, and this is the best Browns roster in quite some time. So you really don't want Berry's legacy to be stained because he missed out on Watson and they were left drafting a rookie QB that's clearly not better than Baker Mayfield and all of a sudden wasting another year of prime contracts and prime years for some of these star players they have.
Now, Albert Breer saying on this tweet that the Browns, don't plan on honoring his trade request. Here we go. Really a good way to summarize all of this. Some additional reporting. This coming in from Josina Anderson, as again, we're reacting to this live, and this is why you subscribe. I'm told the Seahawks have discussed exploring acquiring Baker Mayfield at quarterback per league sources. Jeremy Fowler reporting that Baker Mayfield has a strong interest in the Indianapolis Colts as potential destinations should he be traded from the Browns. And going back to my original point, PD, Baker Mayfield,
yeah,
a really emotional guy, and that's in part what has led to him being a great football player. Goes to Texas Tech, he's doubted. In high school, he was doubted because he didn't land any big offers. Transfers from Texas Tech, goes to Oklahoma. He's a backup there. Didn't even receive a scholarship initially. Ends up really thriving and flourishing under Lincoln Riley, wins the Heisman Trophy.
Right.
Nobody thought that he was going to be the number one overall pick. He ends up being the number one overall pick for the Cleveland Browns. And all along the way, anytime he's been doubted, anytime he's been slated, he's gone out of his way to really prove those detractors wrong, and he's been vocal about that and somewhat emotional and reactionary to all of this. And now this is the latest segment of really the personality of Baker Mayfield, which again makes him great, but has also made the Cleveland Browns frustrated to a certain degree. So let's ask you this as we continue to break this down. Baker Mayfield requesting a trade out of Cleveland. Your one-word reaction to potentially the Mayfield era ending? Let us know in the comments section, and I'll throw it over to Matthew Peterson. Your one-word reaction and your overall reaction to all of this as these tweets and reports coming in furiously.
I'm going to go with mixed emotions. This is a quarterback that was taken first overall. Huge expectations. And I don't think he met those expectations, but at the same time, this is the Browns we're talking about, a team that had one win in 2 combined seasons not long before he arrived there. And what does he do? He gets them back to the postseason, a win in Pittsburgh of all places. against Big Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers, a team that's just terrorized the dog pound for a long time. And what sweeter moment than Cleveland Browns fans seeing Baker Mayfield beat the Steelers on the road in the postseason, go to Arrowhead the next round, and come down to the wire, and frickin' Chad Henne's the guy that stops the Browns from advancing in the postseason, it felt like. So there's going to be a lot of mixed emotions because, understandably so, this is the guy that has well, not alone, but was a part of bringing this franchise out of the dumpster and into contention in the NFL. Being a popular destination for free agents to come to and be back in the circles of the NFL and not be a 0-1 to 5 to 6 win team year in and year out. So one word reaction after that rant is mixed emotions, and I'm combining it because it's my show and I can do that anyway. But a lot to break down here, and I'm curious what the Browns are going to do if they want to honor this request or not, because what if Baker just holds out, right? If they say, you know what, we got an offer from the Seahawks for a third round. We got an offer from the Colts for a third round.
Yeah.
We don't like any quarterback at the 13th spot in the draft, our draft pick. So we don't see an upgrade out there. We're just going to roll with you, Baker. Let's all go get, hibachi or something and make peace and break bread and drink some wine and act like the last 7 days never happened. And Chase, I'm curious what your thoughts are from someone who doesn't follow the Browns and keep up with them closely, but what your takeaway is from Baker Mayfield and whether or not you think this was going to be a nice long-term plan in Cleveland, or if you felt like, you know what, power to Andrew Berry for recognizing, you know what, we have a loaded roster. Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, Nick Chubb, we got Amari Cooper. I want to go out and get a better quarterback. I think I can do better. Or is it the flip side? This is the Browns are talking about. The team with the long list of QB names at the back of the jersey. Do you stick with Baker Mayfield for one more season?
Yeah. So I'll share my thoughts here, but I want to share what Dianna Russini just said of ESPN. The Browns have operated this offseason as a club that was going to go after three big quarterback names: Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, and Deshaun Watson. Cleveland shared that they wanted to stick with Baker if they couldn't land any of those three. But there were reports that we talked about yesterday that the Browns never informed Baker Mayfield that they were going after any of these aforementioned quarterbacks, especially Deshaun Watson, whereas the Atlanta Falcons operated in a totally different stratosphere where they told Matt Ryan that they were pursuing Deshaun Watson. So my takeaway from this, Matthew, to answer your question, can you imagine being employed by a company? They're looking to replace you.
Yeah.
They doubt your abilities, and they don't think that you're fit for the job, and they try to hire somebody else to replace you. Then they come back to you after not finding a viable candidate, and they say, you know what? We want you back. If I'm Baker Mayfield, and if I'm that employee, I don't want to go back to that organization. I don't want to go back to that company because they showed me that they don't want me. Now, I want to ask Browns fans this question. Do you think that Baker will be traded? He's requested a trade. Will the Browns honor it? Let us know in the comments section. T for trade or S for stay. Also, you can find more videos on the latest Cleveland Browns news and rumors on Rumble. So we're reacting to this live on YouTube. You're watching the Cleveland Browns Report on YouTube as well. You want another video platform? We like versatility, kind of like, I don't know, let's say Myles Garrett. He's good against the run and he's good against the pass. You can find our content over there at rumble.com/Browns Report. That link is in the comment section as well as the description of this video.
We got some QB targets here for Cleveland because if they go down the route of trading for a quarterback, here are the best options I got out there. Garoppolo, although he's coming off a shoulder surgery, that's concerning. Then you got Carr, Murray, and Ryan. And I kind of grouped them together. I'm not really sure how realistic those guys are. Carr looks like he's staying in Vegas. Murray, I think, is a long shot to get him out of Arizona. I don't see why the Cardinals would trade him for the 13th pick in this year's draft and a couple more firsts after that. Matt Ryan's got a huge dead cap hit, so unlikely the Falcons move on from him if they don't get Deshaun Watson. Now, if they do get Watson, that changes everything for Ryan. And then you've got Gardner Minshew over in Philadelphia, so that's a potential trade target. He's always been a nice GM, stop piece for a quarterback spot. Jameis Winston, he's a free agent coming out of the Saints. And finally, the NFL draft. I think the Browns are going to be looking a lot more closely at the QB position with that 13th overall pick. All offseason, it's been, should it get Garrett Wilson, Jamison Williams, Treylon Burks? What wide receiver to work best for Baker in his potential final year in Cleveland? Now you got to look at, can we draft a quarterback? Because if they don't find one of those top trade targets or sign someone like this, they're in trouble. And then we got a lot more to break down here. We'll get to the other Baker news in just a moment. But guys, this is why you subscribe, right? The moment Baker news stuff, like breaking Baker news happens, we're going live on our Chat Sports NFL Daily Show here on the Browns Report as well. We're keeping you guys in the loop, staying up to date on everything Cleveland Browns related. So make sure you're subscribed. That way, when stuff like this happens, you never miss a thing.